backlit has and houses many different types of artists. So with the idea of mass, it kind of alluded to notions of artist labour, veneration, spirituality, physical matter, materiality, and this was a theme that everyone seemed to be happy to respond to. So we put people into groups and they were selected on suitability and ways that they could challenge each other's work, and then from that point people started making, negotiating, and it was very much about dialogue between the individual artists in their groups and the discussions with me about what work they were going to be making. So it's quite subtle, but the work's all interlinked, and there are artists that maybe not next to each other in the exhibition but have worked together, and there's beautiful connections between the work. And the idea of mass is also the idea of en masse, a big group together sharing certain themes and ideas and making new work. This work is Arts Council funded, which we're very pleased with, and it meant that we could actually commission artists to make new work and to make something challenging. It would really kind of be a new direction for their practice. So with my work, The Curator is Stuck, it was very much about me thinking about being an artist and curator in the exhibition and how my positioning was affected from critical mass and being very critical of other people's work. And with that comes a level of self-awareness that can be difficult to produce work. So in a very honest way, I wanted to make work about sometimes being stuck in making work. It's a performance in a gravel quarry. The gravel alludes to the idea of a materiality, of a very self-conscious feeling you have, and also kind of alludes to the idea of Samuel Beckett's absurdism in theatre, and it's almost a comedy and a tragedy in its own right. It's quite interesting because people also believe that it's computer manipulation, but it's actually just a real moment. Cold rain, a gravel quarry, and some quite bizarre dramatic lighting. But other than that, it's a very raw moment that was an hour in the making and a 3-minute video.
I think it's a really important exhibition. It seems to be commenting a lot on how contemporary art is viewed today. What Matthew mentioned about simulation and the way that his work wasn't trusted. People saw the rain in his video to be fake. I think that says a lot about how we don't trust artwork. And I think that's a really interesting relationship, and how we trust manufactured objects and how things are made today, and we trust an object more if it's made by someone's hand than if it appears to be simulated. And I think that this exhibition really deals with those issues really effectively.
The relationship to this exhibition is kind of self-explanatory. There's a huge amount of these shells, and I think for me it's about abstracting the idea of artistic labour. It wasn't really a process of making an art object in a traditional sense, a conventional way, but it's more about the investment of that time and the object that is manifested as a result of that process. It's called Pomacius elegans, which is the Latin name for a round-mouthed snail that these shells come from, and collected them all from a single site in the North Downs, and it took about 2 years to collect them.
This work is called The Pleasure of Being Looked At, and it's kind of looking at this idea of how women want to seduce but don't want to be objectified, and the mass culture of it, the mass culture of images of young women on the internet, and questioning why young women are putting images like this online and behaviours like this online. This work has made me think about where I stand as a woman and as an artist, and as a female artist, thinking about how a female artist is meant to behave, thinking about how a female artist is meant to portray herself within her own work. And I think it's really important that I was both the director and the artist and the model within the work, so I took full creative control and control over my body.
In my practice, I'm interested in thinking about technology and ideas of progressing the body with technology. So looking at the theme of mass, I thought about materiality and surface and volume. So I envisioned this body that had progressed into like a digital state within kind of a digital world, digital space. I wanted to kind of create a texture that was in between organic and lab-born. So it's kind of like this in-between state that I was interested in. But I also think it has this quality of kind of like the utopian cyborg. It's called liquid states. So I was thinking about, kind of in a broader sense, binaries in our society are breaking down, like of gender, of sexuality. So I wanted to propose this form that was kind of genderless, kind of amorphic, fluid.
What definitely stood out for me after the talks was Jade Moore's work, and also how the collaboration with Demi Overton You can see how sometimes it's like sculpture and form, and I think that's obviously what Demi's playing with her work. So it's really inspiring hearing about the process. For me, definitely, as an audience member and a viewer, I benefit from that so much.
My work is called Egress, and it refers to foundations of the building bursting out and showing the individual screws and nuts and bolts that are usually hidden within the building. And I felt that this reflects the building has changed over the years, but also all the artists that are hidden in the building, trying to break out and show their individuality and show their work. It is an assemblage of different found material. Most of the material I found at the University of Nottingham. The Sustainable Chemistry building burnt down while it was being built, and I was given permission to go in as an artist to collect material. And all the material that are used has a history and a past.
The physical embodiment of belief was a collaboration between me, Antoinette Sacco, and Daniel Evans-Pugh, also sound performance artist Paul Buddle. Decided to make a piece of art that would focus on belief, not knowing what the end product would be. We all put in different aspects of our own practice. We thought about ideas of futuristic cults. So it was important for us that there was a factor of a ritual within the work. We gave out masks and instruments to the audience so that they could be part of the mask, part of the ritual. We didn't announce anything, we didn't schedule it, we didn't particularly promote it. We sort of hinted at it on social media that something was going to happen, but we never really said. The stage one was the audience view the work, they become comfortable with it, they see it as a sculpture and they think that's it. But then this performance starts happening. The three performers were all outside creating the rhythm on the drums. Meanwhile, throughout the whole thing, I was inside the sculpture. We lower the lights and then a drone begins, and all the while John Pask's sound piece is resonating throughout. And then the second stage, people become included and the ritual begins. I think in some people it awakened a tribal instinct in some ways, and it did make people feel summoning of this being, this belief.
The piece is called Cream, which is Cash Rules Everything Around Me, which is a Wu-Tang Clan reference. And we made a series of fake coins which we play throughout the space during the private view in a way to kind of get people to interact with them as if they were kind of a regular coin as well as being an art object.
Each individual coin is handmade. We were looking at notions of mass consumption and also consumerism, and the value placed or the lack of value placed on objects made by artists.
The thing I like best about the exhibition and the gallery as a whole is it brings together artists that they're only local because they all happen to be in Nottingham. These are world-class artists that we're getting the opportunity to not only see but to engage with and discover their practice.
I think it's really important to profile the people that are part of our artist community. And it's interesting because with the idea of mass, it came from the idea of almost the church community and also the idea that the arts community has a similar kind of infrastructure where you have to believe in what you're doing to really make a difference and to really kind of come together. So I feel as though this exhibition is not only about the belief system that artists have and the things they hold sacred, but it's also about working together and encouraging and supporting and also responding to each other. I think going forward it's a great opportunity for people to have an exhibition alongside a really ambitious programme that we have here, such as international touring practitioners and then soon a Turner Prize winning artist. So I think not only is it just about showing work, it's about being put on that same platform as some really great artists, and also acknowledging and supporting artists at various points in their careers. And it's a great opportunity for people to become aware of backlit and the amazing talent that we have here.